Hello again, it's April here and welcome to the Bird Bonanza. It's going to be a video all about birds, baby. So I got this bird cam, this bird feeder camera contraption here. I got it from a company called Birdfly. They sent me an email like last month and asked if I would like one. I get a lot of emails asking to like use art products and things, or asking if I want to, do a collab. A lot of them are unpaid and I just don't really have time for that. But sometimes I occasionally say yes when I really want something. So this bird cam was literally right. If you guys know me, you know that I love birds. I love bird watching. And this camera was like literally, I've been wanting one for a while, so it was fate. I thought I could make a cute little video with the birds and drawing them and share it with you guys and see what we see in the garden. So we're going to start with the blue tit here, which I just showed a few little clips of it. The blue tit was the bird that we saw the most, probably the least. Well, it's kind of a scatty bird because it does fly. It's very fast. It flies and it goes and it flies and it goes. Sometimes when the camera would turn on, it gives you a notification on your phone that there's a bird, and you would open the camera to have a look because you can watch it through like a live cam as well, and there would be no bird. And then afterwards, like at the end of the day or throughout the day, you can see the saved videos that the camera's taken, and most of the time you just see like a blue tit bird butt flying away, because as soon as the camera turns on, like it realizes there's a bird there, the bird's gone. But I did get a lot of blue tit shots because I guess they are pretty common where we are. The blue tits are probably the birds we see the most after the pigeons. Where I was before, where we were in our previous house, was in the countryside. That's when we first got kind of into bird watching because we had so many birds there. We had a lot of different birds, but in the town where I live now, we don't see many birds. So I popped the bird camera out and I was hopeful, but I was also realistic, because we really only see pigeons, seagulls, blue tits, and the occasional like sparrow. But I did get a couple of surprises on the bird cam, which you'll see coming up. I think I got a couple of different blue tits. One of them was like a really scraggly one, and another was like a little bit more presentable blue tit. So I decided for this video I would also feed two birds with one scone and also tick off some 3 material drawing challenge days. I actually managed to do 4 days in this. If anyone's doing the 3 material drawing challenge, I am not doing it properly. If you guys are doing it properly, shout out to you. I have missed so many days. I've done multiple days in one go. I have lost track. I don't even know what day we're on right now. I'm just having fun with it and just doing it whenever. If you guys don't know what the 3 materials drawing challenge is, it's basically what it says in the tin. You just draw with 3 materials. The challenge rules say to do it every day for 30 minutes and draw from life, but I'm not a rule follower. I can't follow the rules, especially when life gets in the way. So I've just been doing it at my own pace, and birds are the perfect subject, I think, to draw with 3 materials. Even if you don't really get the colors right, you can kind of still see what the birds are. So for the blue tit, I went with kind of classical blue tit combo. I actually had done all of these color palettes before. I have like maybe 20 different color palettes, and I just picked a few of them for this challenge, and then I picked one for each of the 4 birds that I'm going to be drawing. So this one here uses I think it's the Schminke Horodam Naturals watercolor. I think it's the new watercolor. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it is. And then a oil pastel and then a little gouache there. And I think some of these birds turned out super derpy. This was the first bird I drew. I was just warming up into the day. I drew all of these in one day. I spent about maybe 4, 5, 6 hours drawing birds all day. It was super fun. So the next bird that was the most popular was the old jackdaw here. And the jackdaw, as soon as the jackdaw turned up, really saw other birds on here. He was so greedy, and he's got a big beak, you know. He was eating pretty much all day, every day, scaring the other birds off. But, you know, you put the bird food out and you're just happy someone turns up. It's like having a party, you know, and inviting all your friends to come and all your work colleagues, and you know, your grandma. And then 7 o'clock comes, no one's turned up, and you're just hoping someone rings that doorbell because you bought 10 bags of crisps, and, you know, you have like a whole cocktail bar set up. So at least a jackdaw came to the party, and he's quite a character. He's very fun to watch. I do love his beautiful, beautiful eyes, and they are a really lovely bird. We didn't get them down south, so actually it's really nice to see them up here. So that was the old jackdaw, and he was also super, super fun to draw, to jack draw. See what I did there. So for the jackdaw, I chose another color palette. This one is kind of not really at all to do with how the bird actually looks. Very green again. I actually didn't realize, but after I had finished my day of drawing, I realized how much like green color palettes I had, because they were all blue and yellow. So on this one, I think I have a Graphitint paint pan, Holbein acrylic ink, and it was confusing me because I've got like a different color palette thing on the desk there. It was also a neon yellow pencil. So this first image that I'm drawing here is the one that I like the least. I kind of realized that the Graphitint paint there, that blue paint, because it's got graphite in it, it dries really shiny, and also it kind of dries like it doesn't have a lot of contrast. You can't really get a lot of contrast with it because you put it on and it looks really dark, but then when it dries, it kind of seems to dry to only one level of darkness. So I couldn't ever get a lot of contrast out of it, which frustrated me. But I did really enjoy using my neon yellow pencil. I always do. I'm kind of obsessed with neon yellow at the moment, and I really love how it dries on, like, not dries, how it's really awkward because I'm talking about one thing but watching another thing on the screen with the voiceover. My brain cannot compute. But the neon pencil is really fun to overlay on top of things. If you guys haven't used neon, or you're like a little bit scared of it because it's so bold, definitely give it a go. I would highly recommend this pencil. It's a Caran-Fluor yellow pencil. They're really thick and chunky, and like I mentioned, they can layer over things really nicely. You can draw over them as well, and they're a little bit less intense than like a neon highlighter, or I mean not intense in color, just to use. For me, I find highlighters a little bit difficult to use, and they're also probably easier to use than a paint. So that's just, I'm not sponsored by Neon Yellow at all. I wish, but I'm not. So the idea I had for this bird video was to not only showcase the birds, how lovely they are and how cool it is to be able to watch them from the camera, but also the funny shapes, and you kind of see the birds in a way that you wouldn't normally in a picture or a video online, because they're so close to the camera, and especially the big birds like the jackdaw, and we see one of my favorite birds later on in the video. When they get really close to the camera, they made really funny shapes, like you just saw a huge eye or the side of a wing. So a lot of these images are kind of super close-ups or really weird angles, which was fun to draw because it's not something that you often do. Anyway, that was the jackdaw. I did like this one, but I don't know. I didn't like the materials, I don't think, for this one. Another bird that, big surprise actually, because I hadn't seen her in the garden, was the blackbird, the female blackbird. She came along, and I just love when they sit on top of the fat ball thing there. It's really funny. The female blackbird is brown, as you can see, but they have lovely colouring in their feathers. I really love their colouring. I don't think I really showcased it very well in my drawings, but it was fun to kind of play around with the dotty, like speckled texture that they have in their feathers. And this was another little lovely bird to watch as well. So for this blackbird, I tried to go a little bit on the brownie colours to match its feathers a little bit. I chose a pan pastel, which I've just started kind of playing with. I bought them a while ago, and I've kind of been collecting them because I've got one of those big pan pastel trays that you can fit like 20 in, and I had to fill it up, obviously. So I had to buy some more just to fill it up with. But I've actually been taking this out with some plein air stuff and using them for backgrounds mainly. I'm really enjoying them, and it's something I definitely want to get more into. At first, they kind of confused me. I wasn't really sure how to use them. So experimenting and playing with them has really helped. They do kind of mix with water as well. So when you pop the paint over the top of them, or a water soluble pencil, something like that, they do react really nicely with the water. And also they're pretty easy to like put over other materials as well, which I didn't expect. I thought they'd be really hard to draw over, but when you rub them into the paper like this, I guess they kind of go into the grain of the paper, so it has like that friction for the materials. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. This was probably one of my favorite things to do as well, is wetting the page and using the art graph tailor shape. That's an art graph tailor shape there, that square. I get asked sometimes when I have it on Instagram and photos, people haven't often heard of it. They're really fun. I have a set of them. I have 4, and then I have a white one which I've lost, which is so annoying because I literally just bought it and it's so nice to play with, but I've lost it. I have no idea where it is. I tidied up my art room and it's just like disappeared. So I need to tidy up my art room again to find it. But I use the tailor shape. I think it's an ochre. It could be the brown. I have no idea. I always get the colors mixed up. A pan pastel, and then one of my very favorite colors from the Luminance pencils, which I think is the anthraquinoid pink. Oh man, that word. Anthraquinoid, I think. So I really loved the 2 colors of the pan pastel and the pencil, and I almost thought to myself, wouldn't it be great to have a 2 materials drawing challenge? Like, why do we have to bring in a 3rd material? You know, like 3's a crowd. But I started painting over this image with that brown, and it actually turned out really well. I think I shot at the end, so apologies for that. I edited this before I did the voiceover, so sometimes bringing in the 3rd material is a little bit scary because you kind of like what you have on the page already. This is probably one of my favorite drawings that I did. Like I mentioned, I really love doing this where you wet it and then you drag it through the wet page because it all bleeds and you get like a lovely texture, and it kind of makes these really, like, not dirty lines, but very, I don't know, free. Like, they're very free and they're not perfect. I also used my fingers there. I had so much on my fingers, I just smushed my hands against the page to get to kind of like clean my hands off. And now, last but certainly not least, I actually saved my favorite bird till last, which is the pigeon. So if you've been watching any of my Instagram stories, or I don't know if I've ever mentioned it in videos before, but we have these 2 pigeons that come into our garden. We've named them Pigeon Podge. And Pigeon Podge come pretty much every day. Sometimes they bring their friends with them, but they're pretty much always there. I don't know if this is Pidge or Podge or maybe his cousin Percy, but it's definitely a pigeon. I know that for sure. I was very surprised when I saw this pigeon pop up on the camera. For the first few days, I actually watched out very closely to see if pigeons popped onto the bird camera, and they didn't. I thought that maybe they thought they were too heavy for the bird camera. It isn't like the biggest platform, but actually it's very stable. They are not camera shy at all. Their camera loves them, and the poses that they make, and see how close they get to the camera, it's so fun. They have beautiful colors, and I just love pigeons so much. I know they get a bit of a bad rep sometimes, but I think we should all be nicer to pigeons and be kind to them because they are lovely little birds. So that was my pigeon rant over. I did leave the pigeon till last because it was my favorite bird to draw. They are some of my favorite birds to draw. You can't go wrong with them. And I think this is probably my favorite color palette as well. You also can't go wrong with pink and green. I refuse to believe anyone who says otherwise. They're just using the wrong pink and green. So I went with a very pale pink. Actually, I think the name was pale pink gouache, which was very empty. I actually need to replace it. I went with a Derwent Inktense stick, which I broke halfway through. very heavy-handed, and a pastel pencil, which I just recently purchased in my last haul. I haven't used the pastel pencils much. Pastel pencils, try saying that 10 times fast. I haven't used the pastel pencils much, but I am trying to incorporate them more into my work and figure out how to use them. I think I actually use this almost similar to how I use the pan pastels. You can see me smudging there. I have heard that you shouldn't put your fingers into pan pastels. This is just unrelated, but I think I heard it from Sarah Dyer, one of her patron, that you shouldn't put your fingers into the pan pastels because the oil from your fingers ruins the pan pastel. It also could have been a YouTube comment from years ago. So I don't smudge with my fingers with the pan pastels, but it was really nice to smudge with my fingers with this pencil pastel. I did end up breaking the pastel pencil in the pencil sharpener. I put the pastel pencil into the pencil sharpener a little bit too forcefully, and I broke it, and I kept sharpening it, but it kept breaking. So I ended up just using a little nub of the pastel to kind of rub it against the paper. You can see that on the desk. There's like literally broken bits of the pastel everywhere. I kind of did the same technique that I did with the art graph with this Inktense pencil, and the Inktense pencil doesn't bloom as much as the art graph Tailor Shape does. It's more kind of chill, and I really loved actually working with it. I really love working with all these materials. I kind of wish I could just draw all day long. I was watching, this is off topic, but I've been on Emma Maliaka, his patron. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I joined her patron this month, and it is August the 16th so far, and I have watched over almost half of 1 year only, and there was like 50 posts that I've read and watched. Her patron is amazing. Just off topic, and I've forgotten why I was talking about this. Oh, she had an interview with, like a chat with Sarah Van Dongen, because I guess they're buds, which is so cool. Can please you guys be my buds as well? And Sarah Van Dongen was talking about how when she did the MA in Cambridge, which is that super famous MA, the illustration one there, everyone that goes to it comes out like flipping mega amazing. Maybe they're amazing when they go in, you know? Anyway, so she was talking about how the tutor, they had to like draw or sketch for 40 hours a week, and which is basically a full-time job, and how, like, you know, how much you improve by drawing that much. And then also, so listening to that, and then also watching Emma's videos and how she draws and how much, you know, because she's doing this as a full-time job. Oh, guys, the wish I have to just draw all day long. I know even if I become a full-time illustrator, I won't be drawing all day, every day, but just the wish to just sit down and just play all day long. But the weekend comes, which is, you know, my free days. So I'm lucky. Some people have to have other responsibilities at the weekend. I'm pretty lucky, you know. I could take those days for me, but you just have chores. Like, you have things to do that you haven't done all week. And it's just a struggle. It is such a struggle to fit everything in. And there's so much that I want to do that I can't do. So I just do what I can, and I hope that you enjoy it. So this day I was super lucky to be able to sit down for like 4 or 5 hours and just draw all day long. I had so much fun doing it. It was so relaxing. I watched about 7 episodes of Gilmore Girls, and I think I had a chat with Artie at one point. I'm just going through all of my sketchbooks and stuff of everything I drew. I worked in my little sketchbook for my 3 materials challenge that I'm doing. I worked in my bigger sketchbook, and then of course I had all these little pieces of paper because I wanted to like work on multiple things at a time. Some of them, like that one that you just saw, didn't turn out very well. Some of them turned out really well, I think, especially the pigeons. I love them so much. But yeah, that was it. So that was the Birdfly camera. I'm going to leave a link below. I actually have a little affiliate link. So if you guys do want one and you want to purchase one as a little gift to yourself or someone else, I'll get a little bit of bread for that. And that's all. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. And what was your favorite bird? For me, definitely the pigeon. I'm sure I'll see you online soon. So that's the end of the video, and that's all from me today. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.